I'm Stephanie, and welcome to Books and Bubbly. This is the place where I drink something bubbly while talking about a book that I get all bubbly about. And today I'm super excited to be talking about The Passion Project by London Sperry. Now, I do want to give a warning. There are going to be spoilers in this review. If you want a spoiler-free version of this review, please check out my What I Read in June video, as I will not be giving away anything that happens in that review. But let's go ahead and see what is promised. Bennett Taylor should be living the best years of her life, but she's failing miserably. Emphasis on miserable. Adrift in New York City, she has no direction and no energy to find one. When Bennett is set up on a first date with Henry Adams, she drunkenly confesses that she's not ready to love again. In fact, she doesn't feel passion for anything. Not pottery, not sports, nothing. Irrepressibly adventurous, Henry offers to help Bennett uncover her passion for life. Every Saturday, they'll try a new activity. As friends, of course. Their passion project finds them sampling photography, tattooing, and even rappelling off skyscrapers. But when secrets surface, Bennett finally has to face the grief that's holding her back. With tenderness and electric banter, Passion Project is a story of finding a spark and igniting happiness. So this was billed as a romance, and if you're not new around here, you know that is not my favorite genre, but I really enjoyed this. Like I said in my June recap, I absolutely flew through the first 100 pages of this because they were an absolute delight to read. I could not put this down. So as we know from the synopsis, Bennett is in the deep end in her grief and basically just exists. She's not really engaging with her life, her friends, and kind of even has some aspects of derealization or disassociation where she has to orient herself and remind herself that she is real. I really felt for her and kind of actually got shopaholic vibes, which for me that is a huge compliment as I absolutely love that series, and got those vibes with her level of messiness. It was realistic self-sabotage, as she kind of doesn't think she deserves to be happy. So spoiler alerts, this is your last warning. She thinks this because she feels responsible for her ex-boyfriend's death a few years ago. They'd gotten into a fight, and Sam, the ex-boyfriend, was driving over to talk to her when he got in a car accident. Whew. I mean, that is heavy. It's understandable why Bennett feels this crushing weight of his loss. He's gone because of her. Or at least that's what she tells herself. She can't let go of him or her pain, so she just exists in this numb void. She does enough to eat and have a roof over her head, but doesn't seem to care about being an active participant in her life. Her roommate Sonia tries to help her out by getting her out of the house and meeting people, and has set up Bennett on a blind date. And her date is the perfect book boyfriend, Henry. I love you, Henry. Except at the beginning, she doesn't meet him. Well, so she stands him up, and she goes to this restaurant, and then she does meet him. And it's not in the best way. So she goes to the bar that they're supposed to meet at, but she can't do it. She is overcome with fear and anxiety, and bails. She drowns her sorrows at the Italian restaurant next door, and then expels her meal after one too many glasses of wine. Though she makes it sound like she had 2 bottles, and I'm like, what restaurant is serving this girl if she's dining by herself? Anyway, she spends the evening hugging the toilet seat, and someone knocks on the door, and then as she's leaving, she recognizes that, oh, it's the guy she had the date with. It's Henry, the guy she's supposed to meet. She lies and says her name is Andy, as he, of course, recognizes her as he's seen her photo, and Andy is the name of her best friend and Sam's sister. She rushes on out of there. I'm actually not even sure if she paid for her food, and goes home and just crashes. Then she realizes, whoops, she left her wallet behind, so she's gonna have to go back. So she has to go back and finds out that Henry works at the Italian restaurant. He teases her a bit, gives her the wallet back, and they basically strike up a conversation because she's kind of checked out. Since she thinks she's never going to see him again, she kind of lets her guard down and tells him how she really feels about life, which is not a positive feeling. She's directionless and just honestly doesn't feel that much. She doesn't know what she's passionate about. So he offers to help her find her passion and promises that they are just going to be friends. This is not romantic. He himself has recently moved back to New York and could use a new friend, and he thinks it kind of sounds like fun trying new things each week and seeing more of the city. I loved Henry even more as he was living in Denver previously, but it also does seem like the only thing Sperry thinks that we Denverites do is go hiking. I mean, I do enjoy hiking, but there are other things we do here. But all he ever mentions is hiking. He hikes a lot. He goes hiking. He goes to the mountains to go hike. Do you know that he lives in Denver? Because he likes to go hiking. Now, I'm going to say Henry is by far the best thing about this book. You cannot help but fall in love with him too. Like I said, he is the perfect book boyfriend. This is a book that I truly wanted to just be able to crawl inside and live in for a little bit. It gave me all these cozy feelings because of how Henry is, and it made me laugh. Again, the first 100 pages, I flew right through them. This book did kind of open my eyes, as I have realized for romances, I think I do like the grumpy meet sunshine combination, but I like the hero to be the sunshine, and I like our leading lady to be the grump. And I loved that in this, we weren't conflating love with lust. They actually become friends and get to know each other over time and like each other before noticing, their physical aspects are kind of attractive too. It's not just, I want to bone you and, oh, I love you. They actually built up that relationship. Now, were some of their adventures a bit cheesy? Yeah. But did they also fit the vibe of this book and were they fun to read about? Yeah. I do think Sperry did really well here in that she understood the tone that she wanted this to have. It felt light, even though it was dealing with some pretty heavy topics. There's a lot of levity to this, and I think a lot of that, again, comes from Henry and his happy-go-lucky attitude. He's not a chucklefuck and turning everything into a joke, but he is optimistic. He wants to enjoy life, even knowing that there are going to be bad times and there is going to be pain involved in living. So the main plot of the story is finding her passion. So on the hunt for her passion, we've got a class where they learn how to use a tattoo gun on a melon, a dog adoption event, climbing to the top of a skyscraper, and other activities meant to spark Bennett's passion. As she opens herself up to new experiences, she's able to make new friends at work, as well as mend some bridges that she may have set on fire right after Sam passed away. She's trying to be more present in her own life and in the lives of those around her. She wants to be happy and loved, and she wants to love others. And I really do think that the slow burn worked really well in this. Bennett is finding herself and figuring out how to reconcile moving on and letting go of Sam with this new version of herself and embracing who she really is at her core. She wanted to honor Sam by living in New York, which was his dream, but is it hers? What does she really want? And is it okay for her to realize she wants someone else? Again, I really appreciated the friends to lovers progression in this, and it felt very natural. There is the random appearance of the one bed trope in this, and it kind of felt forced, but it also ended up being kind of funny, so I guess we'll call it a wash. I was loving this, even though it was getting a bit repetitive at times. I really appreciated their friendship and, again, their slow burn romance. Now, there is a scene where Bennett wants to kiss Henry, but he says no. And he says no because she's been beating this drum of, we're just friends, don't get any ideas, this is not romantic. So even though she's been flirting with him, he doesn't want to get their wires crossed. He wants to be wanted. He wants her to know what she's doing and is completely sure that that's what she wants too. Not just feeling this rush of emotions or just trying to do something different. He's not going to rush her or make her do anything that she is not ready to do. And let me tell you, it's amazing. A man that listens to what she's saying instead of grunting and growling at her and not caring what she says, Again, this is my type of MMC. I love Henry. If he popped out of this book, my husband might have to be a little worried. Just kidding. Now, of course, even though she's told him she's not ready, she is horrified and humiliated that he rejected her. Because she just thinks like, oh, I must be so unlovable. Obviously, this is the universe telling her that she doesn't deserve to be happy because Henry took her words at face value that she wasn't ready for this. They do end up moving past it and continue to be friends, very flirty friends, but they still hang out and enjoy each other's company. The first big, conflict that causes the third act breakup, it was something. It was contrived, dumb, and honestly, it could have been taken out and the story would have flowed the exact same way. I feel like Sperry had She's All That playing on in the background as she was writing the last half of the book. Things are going so well for Bennett and Henry, and he wants to try having their first date again. They're supposed to meet at the same bar, but right as Bennett is leaving work, her boss surprises her with a check-in to see how things are going. Of course, after her meeting, her phone dies, so she can't text Henry and races across the city to get to him, but he thinks she stood him up again. So she goes to that Italian restaurant again and runs into this woman named Sarah, who she has met before. I'm not sure if Sarah was written as secretly in love with Henry or if she's just a very protective friend, because there's a weird vibe there and lots of girl hate between Bennett and Sarah. And it never really got resolved, so I didn't know what that fully was. Anywho, Sarah is annoyed with Bennett, and honestly at this point in the book kind of joined the club. Like I said, her messiness at the beginning was understandable. It gets a little worse as the book goes on because she, should be on her upward trajectory, but she's kind of just like this all over the place. So Sarah's antagonizing her and kind of teasing her, and then tells her the truth about why Henry wanted to do the passion project with her. So we find out that Jamie, who is the girlfriend of Bennett's roommate Sonia, so Jamie, Sonia's girlfriend, asked Henry to go out with Bennett. He's a good, fun guy, and maybe Bennett could come out of her shell a little bit with someone like him. Bennett pulls the rom-com moment of, was I a bet? Except, I'm sorry, maybe I'm the one in the wrong here, because I don't really think this is the exact same situation. Again, I feel like someone was watching She's All That and was like, oh, that's a good way to do it. Are we sure? Because at the beginning, Bennett originally wanted to meet Henry because Sonia had made her a dating profile and said that she matched with Henry and set up a date. And Bennett was fine with it back then when her friend set her up. So why is she mad when it's Jamie who's the one who really set her up? And with a nice guy. They were just trying to help her. It's not like they paid Henry off. They didn't make this a game. This wasn't a bet. This was them just thinking wow, Henry's a really cool guy and Bennett is severely depressed. Maybe he can help her come out of her shell a little bit or at least be good company for her. But nope, Bennett goes home. She blocks Henry's number. How dare he lie to her? How dare he use her? Except he wasn't. I can concede that he hid the fact of their real setup, and that's not great. But if he truly found her appalling, he could have stopped hanging out with her at any time. He could have not volunteered to hang out with her after she ghosted him at the bar, and she would have been none the wiser. Again, he was interested. He was interested in trying out this passion project. For him, there was nothing on the line. They weren't blackmailing him into hanging out with her. He genuinely started to like her and was having fun. Doesn't really matter because this conflict is resolved in 5 pages, and then they're banging for the first time. Yay. I do appreciate them calling attention to practicing safe sex. Bravo, book. But really, it takes one conversation on the rooftop, and no, it's not raining. And then it's wham bam thank you ma'am time. And after this, Bennett is absolutely loving life. Her drab, dreary existence is now the land of Oz and is filled with colors and magic. She loves being with Henry in a romantic capacity. She's happy. And then everything takes a serious nosedive. So throughout the book, Andy, again, this is Sam's sister, so the dead ex-boyfriend, Andy is getting married and wants Bennett to come. This is the section of the book that lost it a star in its rating. Because Bennett, girl, I'm gonna need you to get your shit together. So Andy has talked to Bennett about coming for this wedding. She has asked Henry to be her +1. But then she told Andy that, oh no, Henry's just a friend. She even gets them separate hotel rooms. He knows that this is going to be a delicate situation and wants to be supportive of Bennett, and her plan is to make him lie the entire weekend, but she's not going to tell him this is her plan until they get there. Like, Bennett, I mean this as sincerely as possible. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why? Why didn't you tell Henry about how you were feeling about Andy's wedding before you got there? You had, what, at least a 6-hour flight to California to discuss this? A drive from the airport? Hell, I mean, how many days did you have before you even left for the wedding? But no, you wait until someone else forced your hand, gave him no time to accept this and prepare for this, and then got pissed when he ends up messing up talking about how they met. Like, girl, this is on you. You cannot be this mad at him. And honestly, Henry is much too good for you. Like, if I didn't love Luke Brandon from Shopaholic so much, I would pair him with Becky Bloomwood. And Bennett here has a real issue with projection. She's projecting her thoughts and feelings on a situation onto others. She knows that Sam's family will be devastated to see her with someone else. She knows that they need her to be Sam's Bennett this weekend. Why? I like, obviously, yes, they are going to have certain feelings about seeing that she has moved on, and especially at their daughter's wedding, when they're making like a big point about, you know, Sam not being able to be there for Andy, they are going to feel some stuff. And that is hard. But I also don't think they expect you to be Queen Victoria and wear black and be mourning for the rest of your life. They want you to move on and live. The only one having these crazy expectations on you is you. So of course, when Henry lets slip that they went on a date, Andy says that she is fine if they are dating. She just wants to know the truth. But no, mind reader Bennett says she knows what's best for Andy. Andy doesn't actually want her to move on from Sam. Bitch, she literally just said you should be honest with her. That is what she wants. Be like Henry and open your ears and listen. Which is honestly even more hilarious because Henry is upset about the whole situation and how Bennett is hiding him and treating him, and then she has the gall to blame him for forcing her to be with him. She's mad because, you know, he wasn't listening when she said she wasn't ready. Were those pages missing from my copy? Because I'm calling foul. He knew you weren't ready and respected that when he rejected your first kiss. He refused to kiss you because he's at least aware that you were your own worst enemy and would have kissed him and then just self-destructed. He said no because he wanted you to choose him. He wanted you to be ready to let him into your life and into your heart. You told him you were ready on that rooftop. You pushed him down on the sun lounger and asked if he had a condom. So obviously Henry is kind of frustrated with the whole situation and leaves after the wedding as he's kind of over her being so mean to him and lying to everyone. Now, luckily for Bennett, Andy talks with her and they talk about Sam and how it is okay for her to love again. I mean, truly, someone did not watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas as a child, and Bennett doesn't realize that your heart can expand to accommodate new love while still holding love for Sam. Now, I was like, Bennett at least does realize she fucked up and does fix it. But I'm gonna be honest, those scenes at the wedding were really hard to read. And she just comes across as extremely manipulative. When she thinks he was lying to her, it is the worst thing imaginable, and she's furious with him. But when he's hesitant about lying to Sam's family, she's mad he's just not going to go along with whatever she asks. I thought you didn't like it when he lied, Bennett. which way is it? So it's okay for you to do it, but not him? I mean, truly, Henry's back must hurt from carrying this book. Though he also does kind of come across as the manic pixie dream boy. Like I said, he is the perfect boyfriend. Well, I guess his flaw is that he has little self-respect because he keeps coming back to Bennett when she doesn't deserve it. But I really did love him as a character. I loved his confidence, his charm, his wit, and his ability to have fun in life. I would so take this golden retriever over a brooding alpha hole any day. Now, the ending does help soften the blow from the wedding scenes, and I do like the message because we finally get to the point that it is okay to move on. You will still grieve. You will still love the person that you lost. You will miss them and who they could have become. Because, yeah, that's kind of the crux of the book. She doesn't know what to do because she has lost this person and hates that this potential is left on her. But it is okay to love others. It is okay to live your life. Don't let the past be an anchor holding you back or be so fearful to live your life because you might experience pain like that again. You're going to experience absolutely nothing if you don't even try. Now, Bennett does end with what's pretty much like a voiceover telling us that, she's in therapy finally, back in school, and moving in with Henry. Though she does say she's thinking of becoming a grief counselor, and I'm really torn on this decision. On the one hand, she would be able to empathize on a very deep level and be able to use her own experience to help others. On the other hand, she is not exactly the poster child for understanding or relating to others, which I think would be a pretty big part of this job. Like, she was so disinterested in Sonia's life unless Sonia was doing something for Bennett. But I guess at least we got closure on what was going on and setting everyone up for their own happily ever after. Now, even though I ended by ranting about Bennett and how unpleasant her regression was, I really did have a good time with this for the majority of the book. Now, I do wish Henry did get a little bit more development instead of just being the perfect boyfriend TM. And I wish Bennett had just gotten over herself. But I enjoyed reading about their friendship and how it blossomed into more. This was a super solid debut and a really good story. I ended up giving this 4 stars as it just has a ton of humor and heart to it, and it made me feel so many things. And again, those first 100 pages blew right through them. Didn't even realize how late it had gotten while I started reading this. I'm really excited to see what Sperry comes out with next. Now, if you do have any recommendations for books that are like similar to this with slow burn friends to lovers and hilarious sunshine male main characters, please leave your recommendations in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining me for Books and Bubbly.